Why? Why did we start wondering about those? My younger colleague, Sari Hällinen, was working in Lapland, Finland, working with young couples, supporting them in their relationship knowledge, but also talking about sexually transmitted diseases and sexualities in general. And she came back and she said, well, why don't we take a little closer look at these couple relationships, because these young people, they have like hundreds of kilometers in between the lovers. They can see so seldom. They don't have the resources, the money to travel, very expensive train tickets, let alone flight tickets and so on. Let's look at those relationships, because it's not really the same thing as the couple relationship that we normally talk about. People who are dating, living together, even married, or people who have possibility to see each other every day. So why don't we look at that, she said, and I thought it was a good idea. And so we made a little questionnaire, just a little questionnaire. I wanted to show you this map, because we can look, you can look at the distances. Here is both Finland, which is a large country, and then the whole of Europe. And imagine someone up north in Lapland, for example, being in love with someone in Helsinki, the very south of Finland, or vice versa, someone in the east of Finland being in love with someone in the west. Or then imagine, you know, all of these relationships that you know, that the someone you love, someone you're interested in, someone you want to get to know, someone you want to maybe spend your life with, lives in another country, maybe even another continent. When you look at this Europe, you see that so many little countries and so many languages, cultures, all of that. And what globalization has brought us has also brought us the globalization of couple relationships. So this is the reality that we're living with now. So we made our little questionnaire for the young people of Finland. We advertised that through our websites and different channels, social media and so on. We got only 300 answers, but for us it was quite a lot. For us it was quite a lot, because it was a quick thing. We wanted to quickly get into this and to see what's happening in those couple relationships. And the median age of these participants was 28 years. So we realized that this long distance relationship, it's the new reality. It's the new reality of couple relationships. So much is happening online. We're falling in love online. We're meeting new people who, through, for example, a hobby we love, or a music, or whatever subject we're into, and the person we're really interested in and start talking with lives somewhere else. So we wanted to understand really what happens in those relationships, and we understood that the distance is not an obstacle, and finding love online is almost like a rule nowadays. It's almost like a rule. You find it online, and then we'll see. First, you create the emotional relationship, and then you start thinking, well, how far do they live? When can I see that person? So the Finnish example, and we have marriages only in the statistics Finland. Unfortunately, no statistics on long distance relationships. There's no way to count them up. But approximately between a third to half of all immigration couple relationships based in Finland. And out of Finnish people, which we are 5.5 million people, not very much, 5.5 million. So 43,000 men have a wife who is originally from another country, mostly from Russia. You may look at the map again. Yes, Russia, or Estonia. Estonia is down there, south, or the Far East. And in Finland, 38,000 women have a husband who is originally from another country, and that might be Southern Europe, or then Turkey, or Russia again, or Estonia, which are right there beside our country. So a lot of relationships happening, but also a lot of marriages happening. And imagine the wonderful thing this is doing to us as people, to us understanding cultures, to us melting, and really, I think it's loving long distance. This is a huge peace movement in the world. So what did we find in our little questionnaire then? We found that long distance couples have the same emotional challenges as all other couples. Am I loved enough? Can I trust you enough? Am I worthy of the long wait? And actually, can I wait for you for so long? And can I build my future on this, on talking online? Is it realistic? Can I honestly do it? So the love of the long distance couple is tested all over again because it is very essential question, all over again. And when it's a strong relationship, it endures. And how does it become a strong relationship? Because of communication. Also, research tells us that, that long distance couples are very good with communication because they don't have any other means. They have to be talking. They can't be silent. Even Finns can't be just silent for hours online. They have to talk. So they're good with communication. And sorry, I'm going to go back a little bit. Good with communication. They often create their own language of caring, loving, being together, trusting, lots of symbolic language. Very interesting that all of that online communication creates such intimacy. Very difficult to point your finger on what makes the other one happy, what kind of a word, a sign, what is it? But they have that inner language. So I was impressed by these results. Also surprised that there is such depth of love and emotion when sometimes the person in love with another person on another continent, in another country even, you have never met them. And yet the feeling of love is profound, very real. So out of our 300, and I know we can't draw conclusions, but this shows us a little bit of some signs of what's going on. So more than 50% of our couples who answered the questionnaire, they argued seldom. And it was always about, I miss you too much. I need concrete plans, when to see you, when can I spend time with you, when can we be together more? And you can't always say those questions out loud. I cannot tell you how often I have a woman and a man on my therapy appointments, and they will say, they will ask me all kinds of questions about their partner. And I just say, but I so wish you could ask these questions of your partner and not me. But you know what? It's difficult to bring up such a subject like, when are we going to get married? When will we move in together? Because they're so sensitive. They don't want to lose that romance. They don't want to push. They don't want to be demanding, naggy. So a lot of things are also unsaid. And this creates tension, and that tension creates arguments. But partners in these long distance relationships, they were most satisfied with discussions when they went into those discussions, with trust also, with intimacy, and again, communication. Almost 100% wanted to live with their partner in the future. But mind you, they had not told their partner that. They told us in the questionnaire. You know, these people are young. They're afraid if I go too far, too fast, I will lose everything. They have seen so much loss already. Parents, friends, relatives, society at large, divorce everywhere. very, very scared generation, very scared of, will this last? So lots of questions go on unasked and thus unanswered. The vast majority did not have sex online. We expected them to do so, to enjoy that, but most of them didn't. But instead wanted the real thing, wanted to wait until they could really meet in person and have each other's company. Then this was interesting from a technological point of view and also from a communications point of view. How many messages a day? So over 10 messages a day. This is what they sent each other, over 10 a day, with pictures of funny situations, pets, whatever happened during the day. And 42% sent sexy pictures of themselves. And almost 100% held on to this habit of wishing you good night, good morning. Very nice, very nice. Very nice way to greet a partner in the morning, for example, a long distance partner. And then what does the research say about long distance relationships? People in long distance relationships are lonelier than single, because a lot of time is spent waiting. I'm at home waiting for the call. I'll stay at home during the weekend waiting for that message, or I'm not motivated to go out and see anybody. I'm waiting for my partner to connect when they have time. So a lot of loneliness, lot of loneliness. And what else? The partners evaluate the relationship and each other based on those short periods when they can meet. A weekend here, weekend there, let's have a night there, let's have that short vacation. And of course, they're at their best behavior. And this may raise unrealistic expectations, because both of these partners, of course, want to bring their best self to their dates, when they have their dates. Other trouble in paradise is that long distance relationships are not regarded as real relationships by friends, family, society at large. The negative stereotype is that will not last. That's ridiculous. You're wasting your time. Lots of like undermining comments from people. Very few seem to trust and believe in those relationships. And while we know that it's very, very important for couples to themselves believe in the relationship and to have their friends and family believe in them as well. It's very important. Builds a foundation, builds strength into the relationship. And then also, the long distance couples, they suffer from these arguments by text. Lots of painful, very, very painful misunderstandings by text. I always tell my clients not to argue by text, because it will go wrong. It just will go wrong. And it takes so much time. But it seems to be the way nowadays. Lots of messages going back and forth, lots of huge, very hurtful misunderstandings. And then what are the positives of the couple, long distance couple relationships? Well, I thought that these couples give each other what the couples need, those who live together, what they need, the long distance couples give each other, which is lots of attention, an interest in how was your day, hearts in messages, hearts, beautiful signs of affection, attention, questions about you, your life, your day. How's your father? How's your mother? How was your work day? How did you go today? There are these video messages, smiles, things that make you smile. And these symbols of love that are something that only the two of them share and recognize. So these long distance couples are very, very good at proving how much they care for each other and think of each other. There is proof There's proof. And what are the strengths then of these long-distance relationships compared to partners living together? Partners, this is again from research, and partners in strong long-distance relationships, they are less distressed than those who live together with their partner. Less stress because you don't live with him or her. And they hold more positive attitudes about the relationships than the couples living together. And there's this old beautiful saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Very old-fashioned saying from old books. And then long-distance partners feel more sure about their feelings than the couples living together. And this is when I started thinking, does it mean that when we live with someone, we start thinking, I'm not so sure about this, especially during lockdown? Just a question mark. So, some testimonials. What did these people say who wanted to talk to us about their, or actually write to us about their relationships? We asked at our website that can you tell us what made your relationship successful? What would you tell others about the successes of your relationship and how you got there? So they talked about the emotion. The emotion as a starting point was the emotion. For example, there's a woman already in her 40s saying, I was traveling literally on the other side of the world. But when I got a message from him, I got warm and my heart started pounding and I wanted to be with him as soon as possible. My skin shivered from longing for his closeness. And now we've lived together for 15 years happily. So that ended beautifully. And another example. My partner worked on another continent, but I knew I loved him and I had to be with him. It was impossible for both of us, and we tried seeing other people, but we always came back and we said, it's not the same. Imagine the agony of that. Imagine. And when we have trouble in paradise, when it does not go well, a young woman tells us the long-distance relationship was an accident, a mistake. We knew each other only 10 months before we went long distance, and 10 months is not enough time to know the other person, to learn to deal with our problems. And in a long distance relationship, you easily wipe the problems under the carpet. And the whole thing was a catastrophe, she said. And somebody else talks about the family accepting or not accepting. Here's an example when a woman's partner from another country was not accepted ever by the family. And so they had to end the relationship. It was just too hard, just too hard. So we do need the social acceptance. We do need that. More trouble in paradise. A young man says that attachment kills the passion. After we moved in together, we lost all the happiness of seeing each other. And then someone else, a young male, complains that it's very, very hard when you cannot be together and close and intimate with the one you love, not as often as you would like a constant hunger for that closeness, constantly. And sometimes the long distance relationship, when it does not really move any place, it doesn't go back or forth, it doesn't move any place, it's very, very frustrating. And here's the young woman telling us, my partner says he cannot promise me anything, but that we have an emotional connection. We've been in a long distance relationship for over 2 years now. This is just not enough. So sometimes there are just no signs of anything moving any place, and these people get very frustrated. So some more again about the communications by technology. This is from research. This is not from the questionnaire, but from research articles. So how do they communicate and why? So in most intimate relationships, people use email and messages and texting, but these long-distance couples are more likely to use video chat and audio platforms. They need to see the face, they need to hear the voice, they need to almost imagine the presence, and that is of course possible through video. And also these audio and visual formats, they are seen as meaningful because they offer more intimacy. And paper formats are popular, but rare. Not many write anymore old-fashioned love letters. We can all do a little thinking, when did we last write a love letter in writing and send it by mail? Not so popular anymore. But many of these people in long-distance relationships, they thought it was so important, so thoughtful, so meaningful, and they wanted to do that and wanted to receive such a love letter as well. Very old-fashioned, just on paper through the mailbox. And these digital formats, according to research, they offer both ease and thoughtfulness to the recipients. So there will be pictures, emojis, stories, jokes, shared news, articles, and of course these very, very important good night, good morning rituals. So we started to think, how can we help these people? What do they need from us? What can we do for them? And we looked both at research and also our own findings, and realized that they need most help in moving in together. And this doesn't mean we started a moving company, no. It means that it's a psychologically difficult thing. After such a long, romantic, even a stormy phase of so much emotion, missing the other, and finally both get their stuff and put it together under one roof. It is psychologically challenging. And there is that kind of a long distance couple, they don't have the tradition yet of who gets to decide whose stuff is important, who gets to decide over the home, and how about our cleaning practices. We know each other in a long distance relationship for 6 years or something like that, and still we have never cleaned together the house. Or how often is it okay to go out and leave you alone? Or can I just keep my good old habits of freedom and go out as often as I please, like I used to after our nightly phone call? So this is a touchy moment. This is the touchy moment. Also, especially, in which country shall we live in? And who will leave their loved ones, close ones, their language, their culture behind? Is it you? Is it me? And what decides? Is it work? Is it studies? Is it language skills? Is it who is stronger, who dictates? Very touchy subject. And help is also needed in building a relationship with the idealized person, the perfect person, the perfect person whom I love. And then suddenly we are just quite ordinary with ordinary problems, and we're living together, and he's not making his bed in the morning, and she's not really that tidy in the kitchen, that kind of thing. Irritations arise. How can he or she who is so perfect can be so irritating? And help is needed in combining two very, very independent lives. People have been very independent up until now. They have come and go as they please after the nightly phone call, after the rituals. they have. So they have learned to be very independent about coming and going. So how do you combine those two independent lives? And do they understand that the loss of freedom, I'm not free anymore to do exactly whatever I want as a single person, because now we live together and we have to talk about, well, let's go buy some food, or shall I go alone or together or with the dog, or I usually go in the morning, really, I always go in the night, that kind of thing. So even that we lose that kind of freedom to do always as we always have ever pleased, whatever to do. So there is the potential for growth in intimacy, closeness, getting to know the one you have longed for so long to get to know. So are you ready for it? Because intimacy is not always easy. It's not always easy. The more we know the other person, the more at the same time we can feel responsible for his or her happiness, for his or her day, for his or her sleep. Are you comfortable here? All kinds of questions like that. And then the physical closeness is also the new reality. Do we both want it? Do we both want it equally much? And is it fun to have you around all the time? Is it fun to have me around all the time? There seems to be kind of a dead end when long distance couples move in together, because they don't know what to do next. They don't have that tradition of moving along the everyday life. And no wonder thus that they mostly talk about the everyday life. I so long for the everyday life with him or her, the ordinary everyday life, because when it works, it's so helpful, so easy, so comfortable. But when it doesn't work and you are kind of in the dead end of waiting for things to start rolling along, that is for many, it's a crisis situation. So what did our respondents in the questionnaire, what did they say they need? What did our 300 need? So I have gathered here a couple of those things. They needed help in communication, how to bring up these difficult subjects, like commitment. Like, yes, we live together now, but is there a next step, maybe? Next step forward. So it's very difficult. I told you earlier, this is a very scared generation of will this last? So bringing up difficult subjects is difficult. They need more online services just for them, just for the long distance couples, for their struggles, for their specific problems, so that there would be online services, therapy and guidance, advice, questions. And also couples therapy online for long distance couples that would allow the system to work with two people on different continents, for example. It doesn't always work that way, but because the expectation is that the couple coming to couples therapy will be under the same roof, they will be living together, they will have the same address. And it's a very old-fashioned expectation. No, they can be all over the place and still be a couple. That is the reality today. And also, they really want and need peer support. For example, peer support groups online, or any kind of peer support. How did you manage? What was your secret? How did you get over it? How did you learn to deal with the moving in together or the closeness? They really need that peer support, and we haven't really found out a way yet how to make that work beautifully. We can post, these tips and ideas that they are giving us, but it's not the same as being in interaction and asking questions. And we have tried to open these support group chats, and they have not worked. So for many, this is a very intimate subject. I don't want to share it with others, while at the same time, I want to share it with others. so we don't know what to do yet. We had to think about that some more. Also, what these long-distance couples need is that we would build a realistic but a positive picture of long-distance relationships in the media, so that we could change the paradigm that this will not work. That is ridiculous. That's never going to work. This is now the paradigm. But instead, to encourage that this is wonderful. So you're in love with somebody from Canada, for example. You have found love. That's wonderful, and it's rare. And there's too little of that going around in the world. You are very, very lucky to have found your love. So this is what we need to work with the media with. And we also need to make visible the difficulties of the compromise, that one of the partners will be away from the safety net of their own country, from their own family, from the surroundings that they're used to. One will likely be in a strange situation, and they will need support in that. And the partner who is comfortable with their home country, with their family, with their old school friends around and family around, they might carry a huge guilt for the compromise that they have been in this love affair and brought in a person who is now a stranger here and does not feel at home. So we need to help with we need to help them with that, and also support the partner who carries a larger load of responsibility in their partner's life and adjustment to a new country, new language, new culture, new circumstances, new family situations, even work situations. So this is where we need to support these long-distance couples, and this is what they told us themselves in the questionnaire. So what did we do so far? The work is ongoing. The work is ongoing, but so far. So we created a web page for long-distance couples, unfortunately in Finnish, but there it is in our services, and you can log in and find stuff. I'll tell you later about that. And we read both academic studies and also popular magazines to learn as much as possible about long-distance relationships. And we wrote articles, and we highlighted the necessary couple relationship skills and the aspects of long-distance relationships that we found from those research articles to be really important. Also, there is a podcast where we discuss the specifics of long-distance relationships, the longing, the fighting, the troubles, the possibilities, the strong emotions. And that's also unfortunately in Finnish, but that is what we did. And also we advertised our cost-free online counseling for long-distance couples as well. Before it was like for you who are dating, for you who are in a relationship, for you who are, I work with young adults a lot. For you who are a young adult in a relationship, can we help you and so on? But instead we added the long-distance relationships to the list. If you need help with your long-distance relationship as well as other relationship problems, you can talk with, you can chat with a psychotherapist online, cost-free for 45 minutes. And here is the address. And this is how we started to do already a year ago. And I have seen results. I have seen lots of long-distance people coming in, asking their questions, and I've been able to, because of all of this lack of knowledge, I have been able to help, and also to emphasize the thing which is really important: you are not alone. You are not alone. And also, we created a test for long-distance couples, meaning can this last? We advised the lead that we do quite a bit of these tests, couple relationship tests and that kind of thing. The questions are sort of light, and the subjects are the problems that they most often meet in their lives. But then the end result, which is good going, everything is great with you, good going. And then a piece of information from our psychologists. Those are really carefully crafted with as much psychological and therapeutic knowledge as we possibly can. So we combine the lightness with the actually not, I don't want to say heavy results, but the informative and educative results and results at the end of the test. And also we made our services known to the public through TV, radio, newspapers, online, offline. Want it to be as visible as possible so that everybody will find us who need to find us. And of course, there were also science-based articles about handling these very strong emotions, about the most common problems, and jealousy, for example, and this longing. When will I see you again? You were not at home last night. Where were you? Very, very difficult questions. And also we reached out to the Finnish Defense Forces because our military service is mandatory for men at approximately 18 years of age, or between 6 months to a year. And the very same service is voluntary for women. But when these young people go to the service, their couple relationships need support during that time. They will not be away for 6 months or a year from their loved ones, but and they will have lots of breaks for weekends and stuff. But still, I emphasize, this is the generation who is scared, will this last? So even if it's only, I will not see her or him for 5 days, they still need someone to talk to. They need support. They need ways to learn to trust. They need some kind of a backup for those longing and very scared feelings when they're away from their loved one. Okay, and then some very current thing here coming, and as we asked for some best practices from our readers at the website, they were able to leave in some best practices, and they told us, for example, if you're separated because of the coronavirus, remember this will not last forever. And this is quite common, by the way, when I do these online chat sessions with young adults. Many are separated because of the coronavirus. They can't travel, or they are too afraid to travel, or I'm sure you understand many reasons why young people cannot, or anyone cannot meet these days as they are, otherwise would. And always communicate, always text your partner good morning and good night, and call at least once a day, meet as often as you can, but also remember to see your friends. Very good advice. And then we have written in a blog that despite the distance, you should strive to have deep conversations because those are very satisfying. The deep conversations are satisfying. Like Jane Austen, by the way, Jane Austen wrote that the best relationship is like a conversation that never ends. Isn't it beautifully said? So we need those deep conversations that never end. And so this couple here, they found a list of 100 questions to ask on a date night. They found it online, and I have also found that list. And there are very interesting questions like, what's your secret thought when you see me? When I walk through the door, what are you thinking? That kind of thing. And this couple tells us that they answer each other in writing. And I think it's a pretty nice idea from them. And another one says, accept all of your emotions and talk about them. It takes effort from both parties for the long distance relationship to succeed. And here we have my friend's sources. I have no idea what time it is now, but I have here the sources, some of the articles, the questionnaire, some popular articles like the one in the Atlantic. And this is some of the stuff that we studied for all of this knowledge. So thank you very much, my friends. And I hope you have some questions.